Picture a room with no windows, no lamps, and no light of any kind. The kind of dark where you cannot see your own hand in front of your face. Now picture a camera pointed at a person sitting perfectly still inside that darkness. After 20 minutes, an image finally appears on the screen. It shows the faint, glowing outline of a human face, brightest around the cheeks and the mouth. No lamp switched on, no flash went off. That light came directly from the person's own skin. That is not a camera trick, and it is not a special effect. Human skin actually gives off real, visible light all day, every single day, including right now while this is playing. The reason nobody has ever caught you glowing with your own eyes is not that it isn't happening. It's that the light is far too faint to ever reach them. So, if your body is truly producing its own light, where is that light coming from? And why did it take until the 21st century for anyone to actually catch it on camera? The idea itself is almost a century old. Back in the 1920s, a Russian scientist named Alexander Gurevich noticed that growing onion seedlings seemed to affect each other's growth without ever touching, and he proposed that living cells were giving off some kind of invisible ray. For a while, the idea caught on across the scientific world. Then it fell apart. Other labs couldn't repeat his results cleanly, and by the 1950s, the whole notion had been written off as bad science. But the core claim that living cells quietly give off light never fully died. It just sat there, unproven, waiting for equipment good enough to catch something this faint. In 2009, a team at the Tohoku Institute of Technology in Japan, led by biophysicist Masaki Kobayashi, finally built one. They cooled a specialized camera sensor down to nearly -120 degrees Celsius. That extreme cold strips out almost all of the electronic noise that would otherwise drown out something this dim. Then they sealed 5 healthy volunteers inside a completely lightless room, let their eyes adjust to the dark for 15 minutes, and pointed the camera at bare skin. Every 3 hours, from 10 in the morning until 10 at night, across 3 separate days, the camera simply watched and waited. What came back was not noise. Every volunteer showed a faint, consistent glow coming off their skin, strongest across the face, especially around the cheeks and the mouth. It was faint enough that you could sit inches from someone's glowing face in a pitch-dark room, eyes fully adjusted, and still see nothing at all. At its brightest, that glow measured out to roughly 3,000 photons, leaving every square centimeter of cheek, every single second. That sounds like a lot until you compare it to what a human eye can register. The dimmest light your eye can ever detect is still about 1,000 times brighter than this glow. Your own face is quietly outshining what your own eyes can normally pick up. The glow was not constant through the day either. It was weakest in the morning, climbed steadily as the hours passed, and peaked in the late afternoon, somewhere close to 4 o'clock, before fading again toward night. Your face runs on a light schedule of its own, quietly rising and falling like an invisible tide. The obvious guess is that this is just heat. Warm objects give off infrared light, and a sensitive enough camera should pick that up, the same way a thermal scope spots a person hiding in the dark. But when Kobayashi's team compared their images against a standard thermal camera, the 2 pictures did not line up. Some of the warmest patches of skin, like the area just above the collarbone, produced almost no visible glow at all. Whatever was leaving these faces, it was not simply heat escaping the body. It was something else entirely. The leading explanation points to something happening inside nearly every cell in your body all day long. Your cells are constantly burning through fuel to generate energy, and that process is not perfectly clean. It throws off unstable, highly reactive molecules called free radicals. When those free radicals collide with fats and proteins inside a cell, a few of the resulting molecules briefly hold onto extra energy. Then, almost instantly, they let that energy go again by releasing it as a tiny particle of light. It works a little like a match flaring for a single instant before it settles back down. Researchers believe much of that spark comes from molecules already sitting in your skin, things like tyrosine and tryptophan. Altered fat molecules play a part too. That tiny flare is happening inside your cells by the trillions, over and over, whether you are asleep, awake, or sitting perfectly still. That is also why the glow rises and falls on a schedule. Metabolism itself speeds up and slows down across the day, so the number of free radicals being produced and the number of photons they release rises and falls right along with it. There was one more pattern buried in the data that the researchers did not expect. The strength of the glow moved in the opposite direction of cortisol, the hormone your body uses to help run its internal clock. When cortisol climbed, the glow tended to drop. When cortisol fell, the glow tended to rise. That is not the pattern you would expect from a random side effect of chemistry. It suggests this light is not simply leaking out of your cells by accident. It appears to be tied to the same internal clock that already governs your sleep, your hunger, and nearly every other rhythm running through your body. And that is where the story runs out of answers. More than a decade after those first images were captured, researchers still do not know for certain why the human body does this, or whether the light serves any purpose at all. It might simply be a side effect of staying alive, a faint byproduct of the same chemistry that keeps every one of your cells running. Or it might eventually turn into something far more useful. Some scientists have wondered whether this glow could one day be read like a gauge, a way to check on a person's metabolism or cellular stress without a single needle or drop of blood, just a camera pointed at bare skin in the dark. A reading like that could, in theory, flag stress or fatigue building up inside the body well before someone actually feels sick. Nobody has proven that yet. For now, it stays an open question, resting on top of a confirmed fact. Somewhere behind your own face, right now, that same faint light is almost certainly leaving your skin. It drifts into the room around you, completely invisible. It is rising or dimming on the same quiet daily schedule it has followed every day of your life. You have never once caught it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.